Good evening, everybody, and welcome. You're with the Sunday weekly warm up, streaming exclusively in the Teach Better private Facebook group found at teachbettergroup.com. We are so glad to have you with us this Sunday night. We have a fantastic show lined up with Ray Hewart and our special guest, RIZO. We're getting ready for the week ahead. Whatever your important role in education might be, we want to be here to inspire, to serve, to educate, to communicate, to motivate, and maybe have a little sprinkle of shenanigans to boot. Ray Hewart's with us, Rizzle's with us, and we're looking forward to getting into some fantastic conversation with our guest and with all of you right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome, everyone. It is the Sunday weekly warm-up, your favorite weekly warm-up show, streaming exclusively in the Teach Better private Facebook group. I am excited to reintroduce Ray Hewart of the Teach Better team. Good evening, Ray, and welcome to the Sunday weekly warm-up.
I love it. I love being for the Sunday weekly warm-up, and anytime Rizzo can show up to something is so good. For you, those of you who may not know Rizzo, she was at our Teach Better conference. She's a part of our speakers network now. We have so many things to talk about. Rizzo, how are you feeling?
I'm okay. I lost my voice this week, so you can tell that I lost it. What an inconvenient time to lose it.
I will say, though, Rizzo, anybody who met you in October knows that you're just like big and bold and loud and fun. And even with your voice being kind of gone, like, I feel like you could still feel the energy. It's still oozing out of you.
I just got it, some of it back today. Yesterday I was whispering, so I hope to get some energy too.
Brad, can we just note that she could have canceled on us and been like, sorry, Teach Better, I have no voice. But instead she's like, no, I can do a full live stream with no voice. It'll be fine.
I want to hear myself later. That's why. I want to hear how I sound.
It'll be fine. And later, Rizzo, when our Sunday weekly warm-up becomes an episode of the Teach Better Talk podcast, we'll have our fabulous Teach Better audio wizards enhance and scrub and just make your voice sound as melodious as it normally would. And yeah, I'm really glad, Ray, that Rizzo could join us tonight. Otherwise, it would be you and me and just a camera pointing at Rizzo's wall there. And I would have been, I don't know. I don't think it would have been nearly as engaging for our audience, including Nikki, Brittany, Hannah, and Stacy. We're glad you're with us. And if you're joining us here in the Facebook group, please make sure that you jump in the comments, tell us who you are, where you are, what you're doing, what's your role in education, and don't forget to give StreamYard permission to use your name so we can know exactly who you are.
Yeah, Rizzo, this show's really fun. I'm excited to have you introduce yourself here in just a second. As you mentioned, prepare for that. But on Sundays, this streams exclusive to our private group. And then on Mondays, it streams everywhere as a recording. So everybody has the opportunity to get access to the information and learn from the incredible educators all around the world that we interview. But it's kind of fun on Sundays to be in this group because then all the comments show up in the same spot. So there's comments and conversation happening here on screen, and then a whole other group of fun conversation happening in the chat throughout the show. So it's a really enjoyable time. Will you tell us a little about yourself?
Laura Rizzo here. I never use my first name. That's why I just go by Rizzo. I don't know. I've always done that. And I'm from El Paso, Texas. Y'all that are listening, if you don't know where El Paso is, it's the very last city before you hit New Mexico. It's like a 13-hour drive from El Paso all the way to Houston. So you're crossing like 2 states if you're going the other direction. It takes the same amount of time to get from here to California than it does from here to Houston. Same amount of time. Born and raised here, but I've lived in San Antonio. I've lived in Houston. I've lived in Austin. And I'm just, a proud Latina educator that it just lives and loves to inspire others to love on each other more than anything. I'm a Cowboy fan. I'm wearing my Cowboys jersey. Whoa, go Cowboys. From Texas, I have to be. But more than anything, I was completely blessed and honored to be part of your Teach Better team. I think for many, many years when I first started teaching, almost 20 years ago, I always tried to find like-minded educators, and they were very hard to find. And over the last 5 years, I mean, it's just amazing how everybody just bloomed all over Twitter. So just honored to just know like-minded educators,
It's
educators that think like me, that love to reach the heart first before anything else.
Yeah, I love hearing everyone's story about how they randomly stumbled upon Teach Better. So, Riz, I'm going to come back to you here and ask if you remember how you got a part of this Teach Better family. But I'd also love to see in the comments, Brad, you know that I love the comments. I'd love to see if anybody here would be willing to share how they came across Teach Better. I know we have some new ambassadors commenting right now, and it's always interesting to me how far people go back or how new our family really is. So, Rizzo, how did you stumble across Teach Better?
It was Twitter. I think people just kept tweeting about it. I'm reading the comments. DFW, go Dallas! Woo! Just Twitter. I just stumbled upon it. People tagging Teach Better. It's so hard to remember how you first, stumbled upon it, right? Like I don't remember the first time. It just became a family that I wanted to just be a part of, and I remember submitting my proposal to speak at the conference long time ago. I don't even know when that was. I don't know, right? Remind me when that was.
Last year. It would have been March of last year. So it was a year ago. Yeah.
Just, submitting my proposal and saying, oh man, I want to tell people about social emotional love. And I'll talk about it later, I guess, but just about social emotional learning and putting love in there. And then I just grew to follow everybody else after I submitted my proposal. So, I was completely just happy, honored, like I said, to be chosen for that, because that's how I got to know a little bit more of all of you all.
Yeah, I know, Brad, I must have asked you this 100 times, but do you mind sharing how you got connected to Teach Better? The comments are blowing up with people's stories.
Yeah, Ray, it reminds me about how some of the things that we wish never happened to us, some of the worst things that could possibly happen to us, actually turned into some unexpected gifts. And for me, it was the shutdown of schools in the spring of 2020 with the emergence of the pandemic that caused me to look online for resources that I could use to inform and inspire my teaching staff to connect regularly and spectacularly with their students now that school had shifted from in person to remote or online. And so I remember getting into some Teach Better conversations. I do remember following and benefiting from the Mastery Chat, which took place on Thursdays. And above all, it was just coming together, as Rizzo said, with like-minded educators and just really nice people. People who have nothing else behind what they say and do other than to serve, inspire, connect, and Rizzo, as you said, to love one another. And this work is about connecting through love for students and for each other, and it builds a wonderful network. So that's how I stumbled upon Teach Better. And Ray, just like every superhero has an origin story, I'm wondering about your Teach Better origin story as well.
Mine goes way back in the day, friends, way back in the day. No, I stumbled across the Teach Better team, which at the time was going by a different name, on Twitter. I was hosting a chat, and that group reached out and said, hey, you're doing some cool stuff. We should connect. And lo and behold, on the other side, Mr. Jeffrey Gargis had actually been the person I met. So then at the time, Jeff and Chad had just started the work that they were doing together. And it's been amazing for me getting to watch the company build. The company will turn 8, I think, this year. And I came in on year 2. So it's been super cool to go from 3 people on the team to 4 to 10 to now 23 of an amazing team. And that doesn't even include the new ambassadors, the creative people that participate in Mastermind, our guest bloggers, our podcasters, anyone who participates in live streams. It's just insanity. So we love our family. It's been amazing to watch it grow. And that's my favorite part of education, is the family that exists with us all together. Rizzo, it's funny because when you were presenting at the conference, that was kind of my first real introduction to you. And everyone was buzzing about your session. They were all like, you got to go see RIZO. Let's go learn. And I remember Aaron from our team even video recording it. And I was like, uh-oh, we've got her. We've tricked her. We're keeping RIZO with us. So RIZO, it's amazing that you're now part of our speakers network, and districts all around the world can now hire you to come out and speak through the team, which just makes it a little easier. We're thrilled to be, directly connected to the work you're doing.
Yes, thank you so much for that. That just truly just touched my heart so much to be part of your team. I just thought, like, I'm just this little Latina from a little city, and they chose me. So honestly, it made me really happy, really blessed.
Well, RIZO, I'm going to say little Latina, but huge impact. I mean, I take a look at the different things that you contribute on a daily basis through social media, through what you post and share. I mean, Ray referred to your work as the Speakers Network. And I'm wondering how, if you think recently, maybe in the past 1 or 2 years, how has this little Latina grown into yourself and into all of the different things that you contribute in such a big way?
I started speaking. So for about, since 2005, when I first started teaching, I started teaching in 2005. I used to, I would get a group of kids who truly, truly believed in this, because I did it as a teenager. I would get a group of my middle school students and create a leadership group. The name of the leadership group was always called Youth Impact. Youth impacting other youth. Taught them everything I knew about leadership, everything I knew about getting in front of a group of people and just sharing your story. For a very, very long time, all I did for 20 plus years at a leadership camp by extreme youth leadership that I've given my life to for 23 years now. I used to just share my personal testimony, just share how at the age of 16, I became the person that I hated the most. I became my father. I became this individual that I didn't recognize. And I always shared that story. So I would share it with my students. And then we would do drug awareness rallies, drug prevention during Red Ribbon Week in October, the last week of October. Do just Red Ribbon Week rallies where we do like skits and raps and energizers, icebreakers for elementary schools. So for the longest time, I did that with students. And I would speak, I would make people cry. And, it was just sharing my story. But in 2018, Extreme Youth Leadership put me on stage and said, share your message. Now I was going from sharing a testimony to actually putting a message behind it that was going to relate to kids. Not just sharing my testimony, but how does that relate to teenagers? 2018, years had passed since I first started teaching. This generation was totally different in the way that they understand things and social media, cell phones. So from 2018 until about 2020, 2018, 2019, 2020, I was speaking and I was like, oh my God, like I can do this. I would come out, I would start dancing, jump around, just old school 90s music, and really energize the crowd. And I thought, there's just not enough females in this world, in this speaking world. There's not enough females out there. I can do this. I know I can. So I transitioned from being the teacher that taught kids everything they knew to now I'm the speaker, but I'm putting a message behind it. How to be boundless in overcoming obstacles, limitless, just different messages. So I was doing my full-time counseling, and then I would leave work to go speak and then have to come back. Unfortunately, I went through a hard time with one of my principals that wasn't allowing me to do that as much. So I said, man, this is my passion. This is my dream. In 2021, I kept telling myself, I'm sitting here telling kids to follow their dreams or visions. This is my dream. I want to be a female speaker one day, stand in front of a group of people, not chase the platform, but do it because I want to inspire others. And so I grew to love it so much more. There's this passion, this fire that lights inside me that, if I was speaking right now in front of an audience, my voice would sound like this, and I would force myself to, just go at it, because when I get in front of a group of kids or adults and I just share my message, it gives me this energy that I can't describe. I can't explain it. I can't describe it, but now I'm doing that with Rizzo Speaks Life, and I love speaking life into people, making people's day better, and in making people's day better, my day gets better. So that's how I transitioned. I've grown because I've learned from so many speakers out there. I've learned from so many educators out there how to do different things. I remember my friend Matt started speaking about 8, 9 years before me. He was also from Extreme Youth Leadership. And he always told me, Laura, they all call me Laura, my family that I've known for like 20 some years. He said, Laura, it's not about you when you get up on that stage. It's about them. What is it that you want them to take away from this message? And I always keep that in my heart. Every time I get on that stage, it's not about me. It's about what are they gonna take? What is it that I can do to it's funny that you said, Brad, you said serving and inspiring, and my part of my logo when I put it on my business card, it says serve, love, and inspire. So it's funny that you say that, and that's how I want to make my point. Like we're all like-minded educators, like-minded difference makers is what I like to call the educators that are part of this team. But that's how I grew to become a speaker, and I've been growing, and I don't think I'm ever going to stop growing. I'm learning from so many different people and people that have actually taken me under their wing as my mentors.
Amazing. I'm so excited to dive more into this, Brad. I think we need to get into our discussion and really pick Rizzo's brain.
Oh my God. And I thought that was part of the discussion. Sorry, y'all, it took forever.
Oh, that was just the pre-discussions. We had we had the pre-discussion, and that was the pre-discussion. And now we're really ready to dive into discussion. So, whatever voice you've got left, Rizzo, just bring it right after this transition break. Right?
Yeah, that's a problem with Brad. Is he asks great questions on the show, and then I'm just like sitting here like, so good.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back. You are in great company tonight. It's the Sunday weekly warm-up, streaming exclusively in the private Teach Better Facebook group at teachbettergroup.com. And you are with Brad Hughes from the Teach Better team, Ray Hewart from the Teach Better team, and with Rizzo from the Teach Better Speakers Network, and the little Latina with a big impact. Before the break was talking about how, Rizzo, how you've been transformed through education and through speaking to serve, love, and empower everyone in your sphere. And Ray and Rizzo, that kind of reminds me just really of what I think is at the heart of life as an educator. You could be an educator interacting in a pre-K classroom, or maybe you are a middle school math teacher. Maybe you're a high school history or language arts teacher. Whatever it is, it's those moments of interaction with others around you that allows you to help others to grow. But I think that we grow along with those that we're in touch with. I'd love to get your thoughts on that, Ray and Rizzo, about how we change lives, but our lives are changed right along with them.
Yes.
I'm going to just jump in. I think there's so many different ways that we can jump into this conversation. And Rizzo, our team, as you know, is always so dedicated to not only sharing the overarching message, but getting into the nitty gritty work. What can a teacher do tomorrow to be a little bit better, right? Better today, better tomorrow. And that's why we called this the Sunday weekly warm up. It's because it's just supposed to warm you up to get ready for an awesome week ahead. So I'd love to hear about your passion as an educator. And then also, we were just talking about you're working with a school later this week. I'd love to get into some of the tangible takeaways that we can work with our team here, our family here listening live with us, that they might be able to implement later this week.
Nice. Okay. So let's talk about what's the first thing. Tell me what the first thing is. Which one do I want to do first?
You whatever you're comfortable with. You dive in.
All right. So I love how this team and any educator now loves to share. When I first started teaching, that wasn't a thing. You couldn't borrow. People didn't easily give. People didn't easily share. I don't know if that's the experience I had, but unfortunately, it was the experience that I saw. Um, People weren't really willing to share, and I think that's why over the last 17, 18 years, I've grown to just love educators so much, and that's why I always, anybody that I see sharing or doing something amazing on social media, I call them hashtag difference makers, because you're literally making a difference in someone's life, whether it be a kid or another teacher. Because when I started teaching, I needed all the resources I could get. I mean, you're throwing it into a classroom. I didn't have any resources, right? And so I wasn't getting that. I wasn't, people weren't easily giving. They didn't want to share. And for me, I said, man, I have all these ideas that I would love to share. Over the years, obviously, that it became easier. People were more willing to share. I think education is very different now than it was when I first started teaching. And so what I want to say is, if you have an idea, this is what I always tell educators when I speak to educators. If you walk into a teacher's classroom and the kids love learning from them, the kids are participating, the kids are having fun, what is it that that teacher does to build that relationship? Because it's all about the relationships. It's all about the relationships. Actually, an organization named Character Strong does character education,
Mhm.
and that's what they're all about. It's all about relationships. You walk into that teacher's classroom, man, what is it that that teacher's doing differently that I can do in my classroom? It shouldn't be, oh, that teacher thinks they're all that because the kids just want to be in their classroom. That's the type of education I started with. I started teaching in those days. I started teaching with teachers that thought, why does everybody like going to Rizzo's class? And just I said, no, like I make learning always life before content all the time. Before SEL, social emotional learning, was such a prominent term, I was doing life before content, which I'm sure that a lot of the educators that are like minded were doing as well. It's just we never found each other. Why? Because social media didn't exist back then. We didn't have the Twitter, we didn't have the Facebook, we didn't have all these tools, right? I'm sure they were out there. I just wasn't meeting any of them. And so you walk into a teacher's classroom, what is it that they're doing that I can do in my classroom? And going and asking and not being afraid to ask another teacher, what do you do to make your kids want to learn so much? What is it that you're doing differently that your kids actually love going to your class? I was a counselor at a predominantly Hispanic um, um, high school, and I would see our attendance rates just drop between lunchtime and afternoon. Kids would show up to second period. They would show up to first and second period. They would show up to a class that they really enjoyed. And if they didn't enjoy a teacher and there was no connection with the teacher, they literally would ditch the period after lunch. They purposely did not go to teachers' classrooms that they couldn't connect with. And that is one thing that I always said, that you have to make those connections with the kids first above anything else, and always teach them life before content. When I talk to educators, I also share, in 1 minute, y'all, in 1 minute, you can talk social emotional learning with a kid. You can ask them about their day yesterday. A bell ringer doesn't have to be about the content that they learned yesterday. A bell ringer can be about something about their life, something that they experienced, a personal story, anything. When I first started teaching, I'm gonna go back to that over and over. When I first started teaching, there was this fine line between, oh, I can't be their friend, but you can share something about your life that's going to make a difference in their life. You can. We're long gone are those days that you can't cross that line. But I'm not saying cross the line. I'm not saying be their friend. I'm saying share a little bit about what you experience that's going to make a difference in their life.
Brad, I know this content resonates with you because you preach this message like crazy as an
Amen.
elementary principal.
Amen.
You must
Preach.
be loving this.
I'm loving it. I'm thinking right away of the late great Rita Pearson,
Oh my
educator,
God,
school
yes.
principal, and
Yep.
TED speaker, who told her audience, "Hey, kids won't learn from people they don't like."
Yep.
And so, as educators, Rizzo, what you're putting out there is like and love what you do, and love the people you do it with. Share your passion for education. Share your passion for young people. Be vulnerable.
Yes.
Share your setbacks and the growth that you've experienced, because heavens, that's what our young people, our youth, our young adults are experiencing each and every day. Is they need people who have their back and let them know that, life is a gift, and along with life, struggle and setback and pain is inevitable. And so we have to work together to understand how to kind of shift those setbacks into growth. And Rizzo, I mean, I just can't imagine what it would have been like to be a young person looking forward to connecting with you again and again, knowing that it's relationships first and then content. But also, it sounds like you were able to find ways to weave the relationships and the content together. So it wasn't one or the other or one over the other. It was happening all together.
Yes.
So I want to get into further conversations and questions for Rizzo. If you are watching live with us, feel free to post your comments if you want Rizzo to answer a specific question or take our conversation a specific way. I do want to give a little plug that while I know all of you are going to run to your leadership teams and bring Rizzo out to your school, Rizzo's also going to be a part of our 12-hour live, which is happening this February 25th, where the Teach Better team will be live literally for 12 hours for free professional development, no breaks in between. It's going to be awesome. Here's a little commercial with the full schedule. Rizzo, you will be live with Joshua Stamper on our 12-hour live stream. I'm so excited for that. Rizzo, you're a part of our tangible takeaway segment where we are going to have guests from all over the world sharing their voice for some really actionable suggestions to support students. So I appreciate that little moment to give it a little plug.
Love it. Love it.
And Ray, I'm so excited that Rizzo and Joshua Stamper are going to be teaming up, because what they have in common is a passion for developing leaders. Joshua Stamper, podcast network manager, training and development specialist with our team, and host of the Aspire to Lead podcast. His passion is identifying, celebrating, and championing aspiring school leaders. And Rizzo, you do the same, but have done with the youth. And I'm thinking too, something that you and Joshua might be able to dig into is that by championing youth, you're championing not just future leaders, but you're championing leaders now. You're saying to youth, you have the potential and the capacity, and you have the opportunity to lead right where you are. You don't have to wait till you're a so-called adult or a grown-up. You've got what it takes. Go out there and make a difference.
Yes, they can make a difference with so many youth their age. I'll tell you a story about the kids that I taught. Gosh, I want to say maybe about 12 years ago. One of the best generations that I taught. Not that I don't love my other generations, but these kids are now 26, 27 years old. First of all, they run into me and they say, Miss Rizzo, is that you? I was like, don't call me Miss. Everybody's going to know how old I am. Right? They're like 26, 27 years old. But that generation, you talk about leaders, man, when they were 12, I had them as leader in my leadership group for 2, 3, 4 years. And they said, I want to do ABCD when I grow up. And they're doing it right now. I have PAs, I have nurses, teachers, coaches. I mean, they are just living their dream. And that was all from teaching life before content. And to see the beauty of these kids were 12 years old. And now they're my friends. I can literally call them and consider them a friend. Any teacher can have that. And I'm sure if you've been teaching, for a very long time, as long as I did, I know that you know those relationships and just how much it means to your heart to know that they remember you, that you made an impact in their heart. There's an activity. Maybe the teachers can do this activity, or you leaders, any leaders out there that are listening, you can do this with your teachers. There's an activity I like to call making a difference. And see, with me, I'm going to share my activity. So there you go, guys. and you ask them, how many people can you remember that won an Academy Award the last 5 years? Do y'all know who won any Academy Awards the last 5 years for Best Actor, Best Actress? Maybe no, right? But if you close your eyes for 10 seconds, do you remember that elementary school teacher that made a difference in your life? And what did they do? They impacted your heart. We remember the people that impacted our hearts. We don't remember the ones that win the awards, the trophies, cash prizes. We remember those people that made a difference in your heart. And that is what we're doing in education. We're impacting people's hearts, not just kids, but adults as well. That's why it's so important for self-care before any other care. You take care of yourself before anyone else.
I love that little challenge to do that small but very intentional activity with students. I think that's a really great way to start your week and get into your week, to really emphasize the culture and impact that you have in your classroom. So important. Or even staff-wide. Brad, I could see you doing this with your team and your teachers that you lead every single week. So it's incredible. Rizzo, before we transition here into our weekly giggles, I'd love if you could share your contact information, how people can stay connected to you, because I know that there's going to be a lot of new followers following this conversation, and maybe some private messages with some specific questions, since they're going to continue to learn from you.
Of course. So any social media, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all under Rizzo Speaks Life, just one Z, Rizzo Speaks Life. I did that on purpose to make it easy for everybody. So it's just literally Rizzo Speaks Life on all my social media. And YouTube, if you're ever feeling, I know we have our moments where we need some lifting up, some uplifting. And if you go to YouTube, my YouTube channel has some of those strategies for just really building yourself up.
I love that. Brad, I'm a big YouTube watcher. Sign me up for that. A daily motivation for Rizzo.
Well, huge takeaways with Rizzo tonight, and huge opportunities to dig into those resources. And these are the gifts that we have to share with our network, Rizzo and Ray, is opportunities to live, grow, inspire, and to support one another in the work that we do. Because heaven knows it's not easy work, but it's such meaningful work for ourselves and for the children and young people that we serve. So thank you, Rizzo, for sharing all of that stuff. And like as Ray said, there's going to be people knocking on your door. I think that Danielle from Plano is going to be knocking on your door. And I think that's Plano, Illinois, Ray, rather than Plano, Texas. I could be wrong.
It's Plano. I didn't know there was a Plano out there.
Oh, yeah, we got a Plano, Illinois. Danielle's amazing. And Danielle, you're already working with the Teach Better team. So bringing in Rizzo is like one button click, one email away, because Rizzo is connected to us. So we got to fly her out everywhere. I love it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Will that be on the Teach Better jet, Ray? I mean, we were looking at the Teach Better tour bus, but I think maybe the Teach Better jet might be the way to get Rizzo from El Paso to wherever.
I'm telling you, I drove by a Teach Better green Mini Cooper the other day, and I was like, oh, I think that color looks good on a car, van, plane. Sign me up. A bus. Let's do it.
Yes.
I think that the great thing about the Teach Better jet, Ray and Rizzo, is eventually when it's in the air, typically you'd see those jet streams in the sky, and the Teach Better jet, you're going to see streams of green hearts coming out of the engine.
So that would be awesome. I love that.
We're going to make this happen. Let's get into some weekly.
I love that.
I love Weekly Giggles time. I look forward to this. I know sometimes we kind of sprinkle it into the show. Brad, today is that day. I love this segment. What do you got for us? Rizzo, get excited for happiness.
Ray and Rizzo, I think I'd just like to pause for a moment and tell you a tale of some special people that have a dog walking business in Alaska. But not only do they walk dogs, they also pick the dogs up on their Mo Mountain Mutts bus.
Yes, I saw this. I love this. Tell me more.
God.
These dogs ride a bus like humans, and the internet is in love. There's a photo there of the Mo Mountain Mutts, a dog walking business in Skagway, Alaska. It's gone viral on social media as these mutts are picked up at home, one by one, lovingly put into harnesses by the dog walking team, and then taken for their walk. And I'll see if this see this here.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Perfect. Love it. Aww. I'm such a sap for anything puppy related.
Oh my gosh.
Each dog is greeted by name, Ray and Rizzo, and they have their harnesses on, and they get into their seats. They each have their own seat, and the article tells me that the walkers and trainers have assigned them seats based on their temperament, where they're going to be most successful. Not unlike a seating plan, I would say. And they each have an opportunity to get greeted. They have a small obedience lesson, and as you can see there, everyone is just wagging their tails with delight to see their friends as they get ready for this dog walking bus in Alaska, Ray. And just an incredible story of, people who love what they do, who are driven to serve and to inspire and to love on these animals. What a wonderful community connection, this doggy daycare bus route in Alaska.
I love it.
So cute. See, what a good little, pick me up. That could be a good bell ringer to bring to students. And I love that just warm feeling that you get when you hear great news, something worth celebrating. That's so fun.
Yes.
Guys, thank you so much for joining our Sunday weekly warm up. Brad, I love hosting the show with you every single week. And Rizzo, it was just a joy being able to see you and hear your story even further. I cannot wait for our community to continue connecting with you and continue learning alongside you. It's so important.
Love it. I don't know what else to say other than thank you guys for always thinking of me and believing in me.
You're amazing. You so absolutely.
Well, 100%. I mean, we're better because we're in your presence, even for a half an hour. And you bring the love, you bring the value, and it's wonderful to amplify people like you who are putting love into the world, Rizzo. The world needs it desperately, and I want to wish you the very best as you continue to do that.
Thank you guys so much. Honestly, it's just a blessing. I think Teach Better team is a blessing to a lot of people out there. So thank you guys for doing what you do.
So important. Guys, if you want more Rizzo, please make sure to go follow Rizzo on all social media, and also mark your calendar for February 25th. That is, again, starting at 8 a.m. Eastern. It goes all the way through 8 p.m. Eastern. 12 hours of uninterrupted free professional development, starting with tangible takeaways, moving into a leadership lunch, and then getting some exclusive trainings that we have never been able to share in this type of environment. So we cannot wait to do it. There is also, from what I heard, over 80 giveaways that we are giving away in 12 hours. So you better come prepared to win something, or else you're in trouble.
Yes, love it.
It's going to be so good. Friends, we will see you next week for our Sunday weekly warm-up. We hope you tune in Wednesday for our Wednesday wake-up if you are a morning person. And we'll see you next time, friends. See you later.
See ya.